Good morning. Hey, I just recently posted a video on YouTube called Beginner's Guide to the AR-15. I've gotten a lot of views on that video. I've gotten a lot of great comments. But a couple of guys pointed out that there's a few things I didn't cover in the video, so we're going to take care of that today. For instance, I'm going to show you how to field strip this rifle. I'm also going to show you how to load and unload a magazine. I'm going to show you how to adjust the front sight. We're going to talk about the forward assist and cover a couple of other items on the rifle. But before we get started, I do want to mention that unless you actually own a Colt AR-15, your rifle's not going to say AR-15 on it. And the reason for that is Colt owns the trademark AR-15. Only they can use it. Maybe Armalite can use it because they developed or made the first AR-15 rifles, but they sold that trademark AR-15 to Colt. So your rifle might say M&P 15, might say SR556, or anything except AR-15. But I'm going to refer to the AR-15 throughout this video. And if there's a lawyer out there working for Colt thinking, hey, I'm going to sue this joker for using our trademark. Well, Mr. Lawyer, just be aware, I am using a Colt AR-15. As you can see right there, hopefully it's in focus, it is a SP1. This is a very early model of the AR-15. Yours is probably going to look a little different than this, but it's still basically going to be the same rifle. So, you know what? Let's get set up and we'll get started. So at the very end of your barrel, you have this piece right here. Now that is a flash suppressor. And basically it's just going to keep your fireball at the end of that barrel contained, because they can get pretty big, actually. Here's a photograph of my son shooting an AR-15 pistol. Look at that fireball on that. So this really does make a big difference. All right, this piece here is a bayonet lug. If you have a bayonet, you can slap one on here. This is a sling swivel. You can put a sling on here. And of course, this is the front sight, which is fully adjustable. So let's go in my shop and I'll show you how to adjust this front sight. Okay, so here's your front sight, and if you look at the top of it, you'll see it says up right here. And so all you're going to do is push down this little pin right here and turn that sight clockwise, and it's going to move the blade up. Now you can buy one of these little tools to adjust the sight, but you really don't need it. If your rifle was chambered in 5.56 NATO, all you need is a cartridge, a full metal jacket. And all you have to do is push in this little pin right here, and you can use that bullet tip to adjust your sight. Just like that. Piece of cake. Alright, let's take a look at the rear sight on this rifle. This is a backup sight made by Magpul. It's polymer, and it's folded down right now. So if I hit this little button, she pops right up, and you'll see there's an R on this dial with a little arrow. So if I turn this clockwise, it's going to move my point of impact to the right, and of course if I turn it counterclockwise, it will move my impact to the left. Very simple to use, very sturdy sight, and again it is used mainly for a backup. Now, if you have a rear sight like this, and you probably don't, you can also use your tip of your bullet to also adjust this type of sight. Now, this little guy right here. Now, what is this here? That is a dust cover, and you can just close it like that if you want to keep out dust or mud or whatever. Chances are you probably won't ever use it. So how do you open that up? All you have to do is bring back the charging handle slightly, and she will automatically pop open. and of course your magazine release right here. And I do want to mention, if you have a modern AR, your takedown pin will not look like this one right here, okay? And you will notice the little notches right here in the bolt carrier. We will talk about that here in just a few minutes. All right, you know, most likely your AR-15 will come with an adjustable buttstock like this one. Most of them come with a pretty cheap buttstock, and that's one accessory I would recommend getting for your AR, is a good buttstock. So how do you take it off? Well, let me show you. First thing, make sure your rifle's unloaded, safety's on. Now here's my adjustment lever. It forces this pin out a little bit. So all I have to do is grab this, and I'm going to take it out that way, and slides right off. This is your buffer tube, and on yours you're probably going to see 6 holes right here. Mine only has 2, but because it only has 2 adjustments. But on yours, again, you're going to have 6 holes, and those are for your buttstock adjustment. So how do we put it back on? Basically the same way. Just pull it out, just like that. Next, we're going to cover how to field strip this rifle. And I'm going to use a different one here because this one is easier to field strip than my Colt. But why would you want to field strip? A couple of reasons. One, you got to do that if you want to clean your rifle. I'm not going to do that right now. I'll save that for another video. But you want to take it apart. You just bought it. You're like me. You want to take things apart, see how they work. Or second, you might drop this in the dirt or in the mud. You want to check the bore, make sure it's not plugged up. You might be shooting, and all of a sudden you hear a pop instead of a bang, and you want to check the bore, see if maybe there's a bullet stuck in there. So taking it, doing a field strip is really quite easy on this. You have a pin right here, and you have another one right here, okay? And show you the other side here. And right there. So first thing you want to do, make sure the hammer is cocked, and make sure it's on safe, the chamber is empty, no magazine. I'm going to push in this pin with my thumbnail, push it in as far as you can, come on this other side, and I'm going to pull it out, but make sure you hang on to the barrel. Just take that pin and pull it all the way out till it stops. Now it's not going to come all the way out, so you're not going to lose it. And once it comes out, you have this right here. Now I can pull back my charging handle a little bit, and I can take out the bolt carrier and the bolt. And now I can take out my charging handle. I'm going to bring this back, put a little downward pressure on it until it pops out like that. Now if I want to separate both of these, this front pin I showed you, push it in, pull it all the way out, and bam. Now if you wanted to, hopefully we can see this, you can look right down the bore. And I don't know if we can see that or not, but you can actually look right down the barrel and see if it's plugged up. All right, here's your lower receiver. Now here's your hammer right here. Now this is very important. When you take this apart, do not take the safety off and pull the trigger and let this slam forward, okay? And the reason for that is this is aluminum. If you do that a couple times, you could end up cracking your receiver. So if you need to lower your hammer, take the safety off, put your thumb on there, and gently let it come forward. Now you can get a Q-tip in here to clean it out. You can blow it out with compressed air. But again, do not let this slam forward, and the hammer will have to be back to put it back together. Let's take a look at the bolt carrier. This is the bolt carrier, and this here is the bolt right here. Now when you put this back together, that bolt needs to be all the way forward like that. If it's pushed in, it will not go in. And you can either pull it out by hand or you can just flick it like so. And here's these little notches we're going to talk about here in a moment. Alright, let's put it back together. You want to do the front first, like so. Just line up your holes with that pin and push it in like that. Now on your charging handle, just put it in an inch or so and then put upward pressure on it while you're pushing it in. And you'll feel it go into place. It should be just like that. Leave it out a couple inches. Again, bolt forward. Just line it up like so. And bam. She's back together. Okay, now we're going to look at this big button right here. This is your forward assist, and it's going to work with these notches in your bolt. And basically, it's going to work pretty much like a ratchet. Let me show you how that works. You're shooting and you notice your bolt doesn't close all the way. Okay, you can use this to close your bolt. Now most likely you're going to have to smack it with your palm to get it to work. But basically that's all that does. Okay, why didn't your bolt close? A couple of reasons. One, your rifle is extremely dirty. Okay, if your rifle is so dirty you have to use your forward assist, you need to take your ass home, clean and lube your rifle. Okay, there's really no reason for your gun to get that dirty. Now another reason you might want to use your forward assist, and the reason I use mine is if I have a problem with coyotes, when I get out in the field I want to be really quiet. So I'll show you how to do that. You might also work law enforcement, and you don't want to charge this weapon because it does make a lot of noise. You want to be real quiet about it. I have a dummy round here. So the way I'm going to do this, put in my magazine, I'm going to charge the weapon, but I'm not going to let it slam home. I'm just going to let it strip off a round off the magazine, close this real gently, and then the bolt is not all the way closed. And I can do that. Now I'm ready to fire. Chances of ever using this forward assist, it's actually pretty slim, but it's there if you need it. All right, next we're going to go in my shop and I'm going to show you how to load a magazine. I'll show you how to unload it. It's a little different than loading a pistol magazine, but before I show you how to load one of these, you can get polymer magazines, you can get aluminum. This is a 20 round, this is a 30 round. You can get a 40 round magazine, 50 round drum, 100 round drum. There's a big selection of magazines out there. I like 20 round magazines just because my ammo tends to last me a little longer. I like to shoot fast. And I really like Magpul Gen 3 magazines. So if you buy one of these, it's going to come with one of these little covers right here. Now don't take that off and just throw it away because you really need this. And let me tell you why. If I put 20 rounds in this magazine and I let it sit for a couple of months, maybe even a year or two, the pressure from those rounds pushing up on these plastic feed lips or polymer feed lips, after a while those feed lips could become deformed. So if I load this up and I put my cover back on, it's actually going to push down on that top round and take the pressure off of my feed lips so they won't deform over time. So again, hang on to that and make sure you use it. Alright, I'm going to show you how to load a 20 round magazine. And of course the magazine will only go in one way. This is the front of the magazine here, and your bullet of course is going to be facing toward the front of the magazine. But all you have to do is take the back of the cartridge and line it up toward the back here and push it straight down, just like that. Very easy to load a magazine. You can load one up, 20 rounds in probably less than 30 seconds. And if you want to unload it, just take a cartridge. I'm going to push on the back end right here. And there you have it. Alright guys, I think I covered just about everything. If you have any questions, make sure you watch my first video. I'll put a link to that at the very end of this video. Watch both videos and bam, you should be able to load up your rifle, head out in the hills and do some shooting. Speaking of shooting, I can't come out here and not shoot my old Colt. So I'm going to load up, shoot this and have a little fun. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video, and we'll see you next time.